Hey guys, what's up? Welcome to my channel. If you're new, I'm Kelly. This is KBellaBeauty, and today we are talking about makeup brushes. So I was actually inspired to film this video when talking to one of my girlfriends whose name is also Kelly, and I had given her the Anastasia Beverly Hills Modern Renaissance palette. And Kelly is not someone who's like obsessed with makeup like I am. She likes it, she's interested in it, but she doesn't like watch YouTube 24/7 like I do. So I had given her the Modern Renaissance palette, and she told me that she was actually looking up YouTube videos on like how to use it. But she did mention that when she was watching these YouTube videos, whoever she was watching talked about the different brushes that they had. And she's kind of made comments about brushes before, and she was saying, like, I have a few brushes, but I don't really know too much about them. And so I was thinking about it, and I was like, I really didn't have a lot of makeup brushes until I started watching YouTube either. And I just kind of learned about different types of makeup brushes and different brands of makeup brushes from watching people apply makeup on YouTube. So I decided I would kind of create this Makeup Brush 101 video and talk about where you can get brushes, what types of brushes are affordable, but also talk about how to use different brushes, because that was something Kelly was saying. Is she was like, you know, like, these are the brushes that I have. I don't necessarily have the blending brushes or whatever they're talking about on YouTube. So I kind of want to go over what different brushes are, how you can use them, and where you can get some affordable brushes. So if you're interested in hearing all about makeup brushes, go ahead and keep on watching. So I want to start by telling you some different places that you can find makeup brushes, and I'm going to work with the most affordable brushes down to the least affordable brushes. And I do have my makeup brushes in front of me, so I'll kind of be pulling from my selection and talking to you about them as well. This right here is where I store like my big face brushes, and this is a Bath & Body Works candle that I had burned and used all of. I got rid of the like extra wax at the bottom, and I keep my face brushes in here. And I actually got this container from a site on Instagram. I want to say it's Glitter something, Glitter Maddness. I will look up the Instagram page if she still is making these, because this is several years old, and I'll link that down below if you're interested in checking that out. But I'm going to kind of work through different types of brushes, and the first brush that I want to talk to you about, or brush brand, is something you can find at the drugstore, and they are e.l.f. brushes. Some of the first brushes that I got when I was deciding to pick up makeup brushes were from e.l.f., and that's because they were super affordable. They have different lines in e.l.f. They have like the black brushes and the white brushes, and I'm pretty sure the white brushes are like $1, and then the black brushes are like $3. And so I have a few brushes here from e.l.f. These ones are eye brushes that were only $1, and then I believe these ones were $3. And you can get e.l.f. brushes at Target. I think you can get them at like Walgreens, CVS, any kind of drugstore. And these are the most affordable makeup brushes that I've found. And one of my absolute favorites is this stippling brush. I use it for absolutely everything. I've had it for so long that it's broken, so I mean, I might as well just go buy another one. But I definitely recommend e.l.f. brushes because they're easy to find and they're super, super affordable. I actually filmed a Test It Out Tuesday video on the next set of brushes that I'm going to talk to you about, and these are Wet n Wild. These ones are a little bit more expensive than e.l.f., but still super, super affordable, and I've used them a couple times, enough to tell you that if you're looking for some good makeup brushes for an affordable price, I do recommend these. More so the eye brushes. The face brushes aren't my favorite, but that doesn't mean that they're not for other people, that other people won't like them. So this blush brush was the most expensive brush at $7.99, and then these four brushes, the highlighting brush and the eye brushes, were $5.99. So they're a little bit more expensive than e.l.f., but they're still really affordable, and they're also easy to get your hands on because you can find them at the drugstore. I do only have one brush from the next line that I'm going to talk to you about, but I've been wanting to get more brushes because I really, really love this one, and it is Royal and Langnickel. You can find these brushes at Walmart. I have the medium eye shader brush, and before I got this brush in an Ipsy bag, I was using my Urban Decay, let me find it, my Urban Decay eyeshadow brush to apply all of like my lid shades. But once I got this brush from Royal and Langnickel, this is now the brush that I reach for when I want to apply my lid shade because I feel like the colors are just much more pigmented. Now Royal and Langnickel brushes, they can be found at Walmart or Walmart online, and I noticed that the brushes ranged from $3 to $8 if you were going to purchase them separately, or the sets that they had ranged anywhere from $10 to $20. So in that case, I would recommend getting a set over just individual brushes, because if you're gonna get one brush for $8, you might as well just pick up the set for $10 and try them out. So those brushes are really, really affordable. And again, you can go in store to pick them up. e.l.f. brushes were the first brushes that I purchased when I started to buy more brushes, but Real Techniques were the second group of brushes that I picked up when I started watching YouTube videos. I noticed that a lot of people talked about Real Techniques, and you can get these brushes at Ulta. So these brushes here were some of the first brushes that I picked up. I have a blush brush. I think this is the Expert Face brush. I used to use this to apply my contour, and then a big powder brush, which I don't powder a lot, so this one doesn't get much use out of me. And then I rubbed the name off of this guy, but this is what I use to kind of set the powder all over my face, and then the accent brush. So these brushes come in sets, and I recommend getting the sets over the single brushes unless there's like one brush that you know you want for sure, because the sets are usually around $20 and you're getting 4 brushes, whereas individual brushes can be anywhere from $7 to $10. So if you purchase a $10 brush, you're getting one brush, when again, if you get a set of 4, it's only $20. So that's what I did. Is I think my blush brush was the brush that I got individually, but then my other brushes I purchased as a set. And Ulta also has, every now and then, if you go like on the Ulta website, or if you're signed up for coupons, there will be $3.50 off of a $10 purchase, and I'm pretty sure you can use that toward Real Techniques. Up until now, all of the brushes that I've been talking to you about could be found in store, but unless you live in California, I think you would have to get Morphe brushes online. Morphe brushes are new to my collection. I found them via YouTube, but they are pretty affordable brushes, and Morphe has several collections, from the gold collection to regular like black brushes, and then they have like a gunmetal collection, and I really like the quality of Morphe brushes. I feel like those are the brushes that I probably use the most, aside from the expensive brushes that I'll talk to you about in a minute. Now the face brushes usually are around the teens, $10, $11, $12, $13, $14, and then the eye brushes are usually under $10, usually around $7 or $8. So it's a little bit more expensive than like Wet n Wild and e.l.f., but it's still not as expensive as the brushes that I'm going to talk to you about in a minute. And you can buy these in a bundle. I want to say the bundle set for the gold collection was under $100. I think it was maybe $60 or $70. So you can purchase a set if you want to invest and get like a whole range of brushes, or you can just kind of pick and choose the ones that you want. Also, another thing about Morphe is, even though you can only order online, you can use a coupon code to save 10%. So people like Jaclyn Hill, Manny MUA, Nicole Concilio, Laura Lee, they all have discount codes for Morphe. And what that means is when you go to the Morphe website, you place your order, and then it'll say like promo code or something like that, and you type in the code that they give you on their YouTube page in the description bar, and you'll get 10% off, and then they get a profit as well. They get like a small cut from that. Morphe sends them a check. You don't pay them directly. It's the company paying them for talking about their brushes, but you get 10% off. So anytime I've ordered from Morphe, I have used a discount code. Now this last set of brushes that I'm going to talk to you about, these are an investment. I'm talking about Sigma brushes. Sigma is another brand that you would have to find online. SigmaBeauty.com, I'm pretty sure, is the website. But these brushes are pricey. So they range anywhere in the teens and 20s for single brushes, eyes and face brushes. And then if you want to purchase an entire set, you're looking at upwards of $80, $90, or even over $100. Some of the like full face sets are like $150, $160. I purchased, I want to say maybe it was called a best sellers kit. And I think these are the 5 brushes that I got. There might be a 6th somewhere, but I got 5 or 6 brushes, and I want to say that it was like $60 or $70. So it is an investment, but these brushes are really, really good at what they do. Like, I use this tapered highlighter brush every single day. I don't apply foundation with a brush, but this would be a foundation brush. And then these are some of my favorite eyeshadow brushes that I use every single day. So I love my Sigma brushes. However, they're really, really expensive. But I think there are people who have codes for Sigma as well. Like Beauty Bliss 15, my friend Nelsie on Instagram, I'm pretty sure she has a code. And then Samantha March here on YouTube, I'm pretty sure she has a code for Sigma. And it works the same way as the Morphe code. You type in their code, you get a percentage off. And I'm not sure with Sigma if they get a cutback or if it just tracks that they're sending out referrals. I'm not 100% sure about that. But still, you as the consumer would get a percentage off. Now let's talk about different types of brushes and how you use each one, and I'll show you a few examples of each. So these brushes right here are all blending brushes. So your very first step in putting your eyeshadow on would be to put some kind of like neutral brown shade in the crease, or I mean whatever you want to put in your crease, whether it's a brown, a purple, a blue, whatever you want to put in your crease. You're going to use a blending brush like these guys here, and you'll know that it's a blending brush because they are a lot fluffier and more dome shaped, and these are really good for blending out the edges. You don't want a streak in your eye. You want it to kind of have a gradual disappearing look on the eye, and that's what blending brushes do, is you put the crease shade in, or you can use these to just kind of blend around your eyes and make your eyeshadow look more like a gradient effect. Now, there's nothing wrong with stopping there and just having one shade in your crease, but sometimes people want a little bit more definition, meaning they want their crease to look a little bit more sunken in. Then you would want to use a brush like these guys here. These are still blending brushes, but they're usually called tapered blending brushes, and that's because they're a little bit more thin, like almost flattened, and they kind of go up into this fluffy shape. I'm hoping you can see what I mean when I say a tapered blending brush. So what these do is you would use these to go directly in your crease, in the hollow of your eye, and you would usually deposit a darker color than the first color that you started with. And so you can get that color right in your crease, but it's still fluffy enough to blend it out. So these brushes right here are really, really good if you want to add another look in your crease. For your lid shade, I like to use brushes like this that are much more flat. This one by Urban Decay is very flat. This one by Royal and Langnickel is a little bit fluffy, but still kind of flat. And when you look for brushes that can apply shadows to your lid, they will usually be called, like this one's a medium eye shader brush. It'll usually say something like a flat eye shader brush, an eye shader brush. Look for those types of words, and those are meant to pack the eyeshadow on your lid. When you're blending in your crease, you're sweeping back and forth, but when you're putting a shadow on your lid, you don't want to sweep, you want to pat. So these flat shader brushes help you to pat eyeshadow onto the lid, and that makes it stand out more. If you're doing a smoky eye, you can take a blending brush and you can use that to sweep eyeshadow on your lid, because the sweeping motion is going to make it not as pigmented and harsh. But typically you want to pat with a shadow brush when you're applying your lid shade. Now, if you want to get fancy with your eyeshadow, you can get brushes like this. They're often called outer V brushes or dome brushes. They're very compact. They're not fluffy like the blending brushes. They're usually shorter and they're very dense, and they make a dome shape. And the reason why they are shaped like that is because these are meant to put shadow right here in the outer V. And the reason why someone would do that is just to darken it up, and it almost makes your eyes look like a little bit bigger. But you're not sweeping like you would with a blending brush. This is just to pack eyeshadow on. Then you would take a blending brush and just kind of blend it all out. Then you have brushes like this called pencil brushes, and I typically use a pencil brush when I am sweeping eyeshadow underneath my eye. Typically anything you do in your crease, you want to then take that same shade and put it underneath the eye to make your eyes look even. So I use pencil brushes to kind of blend my eyeshadow out underneath my eye, because you don't want to use a blending brush, then you're gonna have eyeshadow like all the way down your face. So these are good at blending, but they also kind of get a precise application. You can use these for detail work too though. If you want to get fancy and create a cut crease or something like that, pencil brushes are good for that. And I've even seen people use pencil brushes to get their inner corner. I typically use my finger, but it would work to kind of put shadow in your inner corner or to highlight your brow bone as well. And the last set of eye brushes that I'm going to talk to you about are eyeliner brushes. Now these are typically called like flat eyeliner brushes, but what I use them for is to take a dark shadow, a dark brown or even a black, and I press that right underneath my lash line. So I typically press the shadow first, then blend it out a little bit, because this is going to mimic eyeliner underneath your eyes. You can also do this on your lid as well. There have been times where I've wanted to kind of, without adding like a pencil eyeliner, I've wanted my eyes to look like an eyeliner was there, so I would take these and run it above my lash line as well. But that's what these are for. I don't use them to apply like gel eyeliner or anything. I use them to apply shadow, but it gives the shadow an eyeliner look. Let's talk about face brushes. I use a sponge to apply foundation, but if you wanted to apply foundation with a brush, you would want a brush like this with a flat top. This is called the flat kabuki brush from Sigma, but I'm sure you can find drugstore brushes like this as well. But you want it to be flat and dense so that you can get the foundation into the skin. And again, like I said, I'm not very good at applying foundation with a brush, but I've seen people kind of pat it on there and then blend it out. But you don't want the brush to be fluffy. If the brush is fluffy, I feel like it's just not gonna get the product into your skin. Then you have big fluffy brushes like this guy. These are called powder brushes, and people who have oily skin or normal skin, anyone who sets their whole face of foundation with powder, not me because I have dry skin, you would take this and just dip it into the powder, whether it's a loose powder or a compact of powder. You would swirl it in the powder and then press it onto your face. From what I understand, you don't really want to swirl it all in because that's going to move your foundation, but you want to use this to pat it all over your face and get the powder in. Now, sometimes you see brushes shaped like these guys here, and they will sometimes be called blush brushes. This is the Y4 from Morphe, and this is just an old crown brush. I don't use these to apply blush. You can put it right on the apples of your cheeks and blend it backward, but I use brushes like this to contour, or more so to bronze. You do get like a contour, but it's not like super sharp. But what I do is I take the fluffier side, the large side, and that's the side that I put toward my ear, and I kind of blend it out that way. So I use these for like more of like an all over bronze or contour. But then on days when you want a very, very sharp contour, you would want a brush like this that is more pointed. So it's fluffy, it's not very dense, but it is pointed because that's going to get right into the hollows of your like cheekbone there, and you'll be able to get a very sharp contour line. For blush, I like big fluffy brushes like this one here by Real Techniques. It kind of goes up into a dome shape, but it's very soft and fluffy. However, you will also see blush brushes like this one by Wet n Wild, where it's just more of a dome shape. This is more made for people who put blush just on the apples of the cheeks, whereas this Real Techniques one would be for people who maybe start on the apples and blend it backward. So it's just personal preference on how you like to put your blush. Then you have what is called stippling brushes, and they look like this. They're kind of almost more hairy looking. And these are typically made for cream products. If you have a cream contour or a cream blush, this is good to dip into the product and kind of blend it in. But actually, that's not how I use it. I use it when I put powder underneath my contour to get a sharp line. I use this to dust powder off of my face. There are different types of brushes that you can use to apply highlight on your face. I typically use a tapered highlighter brush like this one here by Sigma, and I just put one side in the product and brush it onto my cheeks. But you can also use a fan brush, and what you would do, that's actually what I used today, is you would kind of fluff it over the product and just kind of fan it onto your face. So that would be used for a highlight product. And the last brush that you saw when I was talking about my e.l.f. brushes is this guy here. This is called a contour brush because there was a brush by NARS called the Ebates brush that was shaped like this, and this was meant for contouring, for taking your like bronzer shade and kind of getting it right in the hollows of your cheeks. But that's not how I used it. I used this the way Jaclyn Hill used it, where she dipped it in a loose powder and she patted it underneath her contour to make her contour sharper in case she got like bronzer below her cheek, and then she would kind of pat it on there and dust it away. But you could use this either to apply contour like that, or if you wanted to go underneath your contour with powder, this is what this is for. It gives you like a very dense line. And that's pretty much gonna do it for this Makeup Brushes 101 video. Of course, these are not the only brushes that have ever existed in the world of makeup brushes, but I just wanted to give a general overview for beginners who don't know too much about makeup brushes or who are maybe confused on what brushes to buy and how to use them. So, of course, you can do whatever you want with your makeup, however you want to use any of these brushes, but these are the brushes that I like and the way that I use them. So hopefully you guys found this video helpful. If you did, go ahead and give it a thumbs up. If you're not already subscribed, go ahead and hit that red subscribe button before you go, because I do post videos twice a week for sure. Wednesdays at 5 p.m. CST and Saturdays at 11 a.m. CST. Although my goal in 2018 is to get 3 videos up a week, I usually have a bonus video on either Monday or Tuesday. You can also follow my other social medias. I have Twitter, KBellaBeautyXO, and Instagram at KBellaBeauty. Those will be listed down below if you're interested. If you have any suggestions for future videos or things you'd like to see, feel free to leave them in the comments down below. Otherwise, that's all I have for you guys today. So thank you so much for watching, and I'll talk to you soon. Bye.